all, it's Miss Carly, and today we're going to talk about bow styles. Now, when we talk about bow styles, there are a lot. There's a whole entire grocery list of them, but we're not going to go over every single one. We're just going to go over the main 6. So, first, I'd like to point out that there are 2 that we use all the time, but we never really say what they are. They are called détaché and martelé. Now, the détaché is broad but separate bow strokes. These notes that are broad but separate are not slurred, meaning that they are separate. There's no over arc. When we do détaché, it's kind of like when we play our G major scale, which I will play for you now, using détaché. Using our entire bow with loud, full sound. Now, martelé is detached and strongly accented notes. Often, we'll use our whole bow, but very rapidly to do martelé, like this. Did you notice how there was more of an accent on each one of the notes when I started them? That's martelé. So the difference between détaché and martelé is that martelé has more of an accent at the beginning of the note, and détaché does not. Those are the 2 most common bow strokes that we use. 2 more really common ones that we use that are notated are legato and staccato. So legato is our long, smooth bows that we connect with our bow strokes, trying to trick the audience into thinking that it's only one long bow, like this. Those are separate legato notes. Now, with legato, we also like to slur those bad boys. So this is what it sounds like when you slur 2 legato notes together. Kind of like that. They're similar to détaché as they have loud, long elements to them. However, legato is normally notated with a line of below the note. So now on to staccato, which is similar to martelé, where we have detached short notes with accents, and we like to think of these as really sticky. So if you remember from all the way back when you started, the really sticky bows, when we use like about 3 inches, 2 to 3 inches of our bow in the middle of our bow, to the balance point, which we have found in class before, which is about here. So let me show you staccato on G major scale. Those staccato notes are just the normal up, down, up, as you saw. The next one that we have is spiccato. I like to think spiccato as spiky staccato notes, meaning that the spiky is they come off of the string. So spiccato bow strokes come off of the string like this. A good way to think about spiccato is when you're doing your bowing, you want to make a little banana with your finger like this, or imagine a dot on your bow and make a little banana with it so that you get the detached notes that bounce. So when we think about bananas, we want to watch our bow and think like a banana when we bounce. or a smiley face. Smiley face or banana, whatever floats your boat. So we'll do spiccato, and I'll do 2 spiccato bowings per note. So we're still drawing the bow back and forth across the string. It's just kind of bouncing like you're also on a trampoline. That would also work. So the next kind of bowing that we have is called ricochet. This one is very hard to perfect. Ricochet is very similar, not very similar, kind of similar to spiccato bowings, where it bounces. Normally it's going to bounce on the balance point of the bow, which we found in class. Most often we let the bow drop and then it keeps bouncing freely, so we don't want to control this bounce of ricochet. We move the bow up and down in an up and down direction, right? Because that's what we do with our bows in order to make sound. We learn to control the speed at where the bow bounces and the number of time it bounces, gauging the height from which we drop it and controlling it when you stop the bounce. Now, I know that sounds really, really complicated. Let me show you what I mean. I'm not going to do a G major scale with the ricochet because that is actually way more difficult to do on the lower strings. So I will do it on the A string. Now, when we do ricochet, what we're going to do first is we're going to find the balance point and hover our bow over the balance point. And we're just going to drop our bow onto our instrument. Not too hard, and because we don't want to hurt our instruments. We just want it to bounce. Just like that. Now what I'm going to add is I'm going to add drawing my bow down while it bounces. I'm only using about 1 inch of my bow. Only use about 1 inch of your bow when you're starting to ricochet. There are also other ricochets where we can go like this, and using both bow directions like this. Ricochet, like I said, is a very hard bow style to achieve in the first 2 months. It takes a lot of practice, so don't worry about the amount of ricochet you get. It's not always the same, and it takes a while to get used to. The next one we have is tremolo. Tremolo isn't like anything we've covered already. Tremolo is notated in your music by 3 or more slashes on a note. So say you have a half note, and on the stem of the half note you have some slashes, and that means tremolo. Tremolo we hear a lot in like spooky music. Sometimes we hear it in suspenseful music, not just spooky. Those are 2 different things. So when we do tremolo, we want, depending on the dynamic, we want to use the tip of our bow, the upper half of our bow when we do tremolo. I'm going to do it on the G major scale. To do tremolo, we want to kind of scrub with our bow, but we don't want to add weight to our bow, especially if it's in the upper half. Now, if we're tremolo and we're in the lower half of our bow, we want to add some more weight to our bow. So we're going to make sure our hand is heavy, not tight. Our hand is heavy so that we can add the tremolo and have it be louder. And that is tremolo in forte at the end of our bow. It's very difficult to achieve forte tremolo in the tip of your bow, so generally we do want to use the lower half of our bow for forte tremolo and the upper half of our bow for piano, mezzo piano tremolo. So let's go over what we did, and I'll give you a couple of exercises to do. We're going to go all the way back to détaché and martelé. Now, because we do that in class every single day, just keep playing détaché as we've learned, and that was the original bow stroke we used. So there aren't really any particular exercises other than just playing your music as written. Martelé is the accented one, like that. So what we want to do when we play martelé is we want to kind of tug and put weight on the very first, when we start, the very first sound of our note when we start it like this. So I gave a little bit of weight in my hand when I started each note, but by the time I was done with the note, I had less weight in my hand than when I began. On staccato notes, those are our short, sticky ones with dots underneath of them. And that one's pretty easy to do too. We've done that in class quite a bit. So we just want short, 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 short. Short, sticky bows. Short, sticky bows, and we practice those every day. Then we have the spiccato. Remember I said the bananas or the smiley face, or like you're jumping on a trampoline. So that we want to find the balance point. Remember the balance point. And we want to go and find our bananas. I'll do 2 for each note. Just like that. So if we just practice light bounces with our bow, we'll get spiccato down pat. Then we have the ricochet. Now, like I said, ricochet is very hard to achieve in a short amount of time. So this will take a long time to achieve, get perfect, which there is no perfect, and no, you know what? We're okay with that because we're just going to try our best. So what we're going to do with ricochet is, and when we start, remember we are going to find our balance point, middle of the bow-ish, and we're just going to drop, and then drop, and drag, drop and drag, but we're not dragging very far, only about an inch. Drop and drag, drop and drag, drop and drag up, 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 drop and drag up. And whatever notes you have to do your ricochet on, you just add those, but that is how you style the bow. Then we have tremolo. We're almost done. So then we have tremolo, which is, like I said, we do it, and it's notated with 3 slashes on the staff of the note that you're playing. So when we play tremolo, in the upper half of our bow, we want to kind of scrub, but not too much weight in our bow, because otherwise it's going to sound, this is not going to sound very good. It's going to sound like this if we put too much weight in our bow. And that causes a lot of tension right here, which is not what we want. We don't want to cause tension when we're playing. So we're going to have a nice light tremolo. It's going to sound breathy and kind of like glass. If glass had a sound, it would, to me, it would sound like tremolo. So then on the other end of the spectrum, when we go to our frogs, it's going to sound nice and scrubby, like we're scrubbing away the dirt on our dogs when we're giving our dogs a bath. We got to really scrub that hard because they roll around in the mud. So those are some of the major bow styles that we will be using in music all the time. Some are more rare than others, and a lot depend on the style of music. So when we look at our music, we want to look at the key signature, the speed, if there's like allegro or allegretto or moderato at the top, at the beginning, that could dictate the kind of styles we use with our bow. If you have any questions or comments, please reach out. I will love to help you with some more bow styles. Have a wonderful day. I will see you later.